last night I went on with Jesse Naylor and I said with confidence that the Niners aren't going to trade Deebo Samuel. I don't know. I don't have any sources inside the Niners organization. I think we've heard from a lot of people that people outside the organization don't expect the Niners to trade him. That, certain teams don't expect the Niners to trade. No one knows what the Niners are going to do. And I think anyone that thinks the Niners are going to keep Deebo is assuming that somehow Kyle can fix this. Kyle's cool with Deebo. The deadline is in a couple of months. Kyle can come through and he can talk to Denise or do something. Do you buy that theory that Kyle can somehow fix this?
Kyle believes he can fix it. I believe in his
I believe that Kyle believes it. Yes.
Kyle believes that he can fix it, but I feel like if he could have fixed it, he would have. And now Deebo wouldn't have been lashing out in social media, anything like that. Like if Kyle could have fixed this, he would have. He would have sent a message to Deebo or the meeting in Miami. I feel
that's like what I'm saying. Wasn't that his first attempt?
Right. The meeting in Miami went very poorly. And then all of a sudden Deebo ends up with Mike McDaniel at lunch. So if Kyle could have fixed it, he would have fixed it at this point. But I do believe Kyle believes that he can fix it. Whether he can or not, I don't know about that. But he believes that for sure.
So let's define what fixing it would be. Fixing it isn't going over to Deebo and convincing Deebo to be a team player and take less money, right? Fixing it is going to Denise and John and saying, this guy's really important. Like what he did with Trent Williams last year, right? You got to pay him. That's fixing it.
What I mean by fixing it, I think what I mean by fixing it is, for me, is about scaling back the running back touches, understanding that Deebo wants to be like a wide receiver, more and more targets and things. So fixing it is more about fixing it and with money, right? Because the money should have fixed everything. Money, talks, but it's more about the way he's used. And Kyle should be able to fix that in that way. Any sort of thing that he has, any sort of issue he has with being utilized, it should be fixable. If you're Kyle Shanahan, all you have to do is not run the ball with him that much out of the backfield and find someone who's as explosive to do that.
Right. So what Kyle can say is he could just do nothing, not trade Deebo. And then in round 2, round 3, round 4, draft a running back and go to Deebo and say, look, that's the new Raheem Mostert. You don't have to do it anymore. We so thank you for filling in for Raheem Mostert after he got hurt. We needed you to do that, but you won't be required to do that anymore. We've replaced that job in the offense, and now you can be a wide receiver. And we're going to pay you, because the Niners have already said on record, we want to pay him. We want to pay him what wide receivers are worth. We'll pay you. We'll give you your conditions. We have another running back. Please stay with us. I mean, could that work? Why would that not work? Is it too late?
No, and that's the thing. Again, you saying it's too late is what we're talking about in this entire, can Kyle fix it? If Kyle could have fixed it, he would have fixed it, in my opinion. Yeah. But I truly believe, because Kyle is so, I'm the man, you're not, Kyle thinks he can fix it. But if you could have fixed it, I think you would have. And Deebo wouldn't have been doing any of these other things one way or another.
Allow me to retort. It's possible that the opening conversation didn't go so well. It went really bad. And Deebo got really mad. From Kyle's perspective, okay, fine, Deebo's mad. The deadline still is training camp. Yeah. So you can't be mad forever. Let's cool down. Let's not trade you. And let's talk again closer to the deadline. And I'll come correct with a better offer. And you won't be so angry. And we'll actually negotiate, because I value you the way you want to be valued. I think maybe Kyle thinks he can do that.
Right. And the other thing is, too, is you're talking about open negotiations, right? And things that kind of start. But here's what I'll drop off real quick. Deebo had a number in his mind that he believed that he was worth. And good old Trent Baalke finds a way to screw the 49ers again by signing mid-Christian Kirk to this wild deal that Deebo Samuel looks at like, I've done more in half a season than this man has done his entire career. And look what he just got. So a lot of this has to do with the wide receiver market. Everybody wants to point to Tyreek and Devontae and all of these guys that have been getting their money. Christian Kirk is the real problem here at this point. And Trent Baalke is the real problem at this point. So 49er fans, You can get mad at Deebo all you want, but I would be more upset with the guy who has reset the wide receiver market for a mid-ass receiver. Sorry, I'm trying to not curse or anything like that on your stream. A mid-ass wide receiver like Christian Kirk, who gets this amount of money, and Deebo Samuel has done more in 6 games as a 49er than this man has done his entire career as a wide receiver. And this is the bag he's getting. Forget Tyreek Hill and forget Devontae Adams. That Christian Kirk deal is the problem, the biggest problem.
Okay, final aspect of this discussion is Kyle has a good relationship with Deebo, fine. Kyle has to go back to the Yorks and make a case for them paying for Deebo. And again, it's been reported that they're willing to do it. Okay, I don't know. Kyle has to go and be like, look, not only is this my best player, but he's marketable. You can profit off of Deebo. Like with Buckner wasn't really someone they were marketing, and he wasn't really a star. Deebo's a star.
It's a locker room guy.
I mean, Deebo's a star. You could really argue that they're not marketing him enough. His name is Deebo.
Right.
He's a star. He should be the face of the franchise. It's Kittle, it's Bosa, it's Jimmy. They could definitely profit from keeping Deebo. It's an investment. So I think they could sell it to the Yorks that way.
That's the little sliver of hope that I have that this winds up with Deebo staying here, is that's a Kyle guy. Deebo's a Kyle guy. Like Deebo was at the Senior Bowl, he fell in love with Deebo there.
Yes.
That's the thing that kind of has me like this much like, okay, they can fix this, because Trent Williams, the same thing, right? Kyle made an executive decision and said, no, whatever it is that he wants, make that happen. Why aren't you doing this right now at this point? But I will throw this one last thing out, and I don't want to get anybody upset. Obviously, what's going on with Deebo Samuel has nothing to do with this year's cap hit, right? Because any extension would have to happen, and cap hit would be after. But there's one guy that's on this roster still that the 49ers still can't really make any moves in terms of those things, and he's still here for whatever reason. He who shall not be named.
Yes.
He who is the handsome elephant in the room.
Yes.
And I think that John Lynch came to them and said, hey, here's the number. He didn't like that. And also, here's the number, but we got to wait to clear this situation with he who will not be named first before we can make something happen, which lines up with the whole training camp thing, because you hope that they have that resolved later on.
Hey, maybe the Niners trade Jimmy Garoppolo for a draft pick, which they spend on a running back who takes Deebo Samuel's role in the running game tonight. And they would go back to Deebo and all right, man, what do you want to talk now? You good? Yeah. Can we talk?
And are you? There was a report that came out today from Jeff Howe. I think he was tweeting out about how, yes, the Texans love Davis Mills, but after the draft, they'll be in on a Jimmy Garoppolo or Baker Mayfield. Now, if you're talking about those two, I lean Jimmy Garoppolo because of the person that's there in Houston, Nick Caserio, and the ties from New England, right? Nick Caserio helped draft Jimmy Garoppolo. You think that he wouldn't want to bring him there? Now, Jimmy Garoppolo going to the Texans doesn't make them a playoff team. To Caserio. Yeah, over Davis Mills.
Why would you put Davis Mills on the bench after starting him for a year? I don't get it. Okay, maybe
bad teams continue to be bad, Grant. Okay. That's it. Okay. You gotta bank on franchises. Look, the Houston Texans aren't the model of a franchise, moving in the right direction. They literally have lame duck after lame duck coach, one after the other, like poor Lovie Smith, who is in a spot right now where he's in a lame duck spot, where they're holding the job for Josh McCown, who was a quarterback and literally has never played and never been a coach. Like,
if they can prove that they're doing that, that's against the law. So I hope that they get outed, because the thing about Lovie Smith, he's a good coach. Mm-hmm. He's a black coach, obviously, but he's one of these black coaches who brings in other black position coaches. He's good for football. I hope he gets I hope he gets to stay there, man.
I feel terrible for Lovie Smith, but don't discount the Houston Texans signing back-to-back black coaches to get around a narrative. Get around the narrative a little bit.
And so depressing.
Right, and you know what? And people in the comments are going to be
like, I know coaches on that staff in Houston, man. That sucks.
And I know people are going to say, oh, you're race baiting. I'm not race baiting. I'm telling you that they are trying to expunge some sort of narrative around them that they are not.
What is so special about Josh McCown?
I don't know. I don't know, man. I really don't know. But they've tried. Look, They signed I forget the man's name. Cullen, I believe, was their coach last year, and for everything that happened with the Texans, he did an amazing job getting that team to play as well as they did, especially with a rookie quarterback. But apparently they let Josh McCown go coach high school football so he could learn time management before he comes back. And then Lovie Smith is the sign, while Josh McCown is also trying to still learn. They all feel like placeholder after placeholder while still being able to get around this little narrative around the Houston Texans. Remember, their owner, insane asylum. What is it? Inmates running the asylum.
Yeah.
It's just it's all bad in Houston, and franchises continue to be bad, and that's Houston.
Okay, enough of that dumpster fire. Let's come back. This is an hour ago. Tony Jefferson, who was on the 49ers, tweeted, I just saw, he thinks Deebo Samuel will be a Jet by tonight. Man, everyone's got a prediction. I don't know if anyone has actual information, but does this sway you in any way?
No, and I mean, it doesn't sway me because I have no idea what's going on. So I have no opinion one way or the other.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here and make a prediction. But someone that I spoke to yesterday, who has coached in this league, somebody that I'm actually very cool with, and I didn't realize all those things until we actually spoke, said that the 49ers are going to be waiting for teams to be on the clock. And what happens when you're on the clock? You kind of make a decision that you're a little bit hasty on. Think about your fantasy football draft, right? You're on the clock for 2 minutes. You're looking in between two players, and eventually you're going to make a decision, but you have to make a decision in those 2 minutes. So the 49ers are going to look at teams that are on the clock and start saying, hey, get your guy, get your guy, get your guy. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Like press them, and then see if somebody does something stupid. Doesn't mean that the 49ers are looking to move from Deebo, but it looks like they're trying to cash in on teams, I guess, impatience with the clock. And
the one thing that makes that complicated is that you have to have some serious guts to trade for Deebo Samuel without having negotiated a contract extension yet. Hey, the Niners can't do, but we can. Now, if you're a team in a tax-free state, maybe you just feel really confident.
Yeah.
So, hey, you know what? He'll want to. If you're the Cowboys, be like, he's gonna want to play here. No problem. Let's trade for him right now.
The other thing is do the 49ers like somebody at that spot? So let's say the 49ers covet 2 and 3 guys. Let's say whatever, the Jets are up at 10, and one of their guys is there, right there, that they covet. And I don't know who that is. Is that an edge rusher? Is that a wide receiver that slipped? Is that, Thibodeau is sliding now because of bad interviews. That's what they're saying, right? Like George Pickens is going to slide out of the first round. Bad interviews. There's so much going on right now in terms of stock and who the 49ers actually like. So let's say there's 2-3 guys that are there, right there in that spot that they like. That's when they maybe say, hey, listen, let's cut the cord. We like this guy. Let's move on in this way. But also, I would ask you this, Grant, and I would ask everybody that's watching. Do the 49ers set up a similar situation where they replace a wide receiver with the wide receiver a la Buckner and Kinlaw, right? Instead of going best player available, you're going to draft for need. So again, who do they covet? And I think that's what has a lot to do with the on the clock stuff that I've been hearing around here.